On the banks of the Euphrates River, in what is now the Iraqi desert, stood the most powerful city the ancient world had ever seen. Its walls stretched 56 miles around the city. Its gates were coated in cobalt blue tiles and adorned with golden dragons. Its tower rose 90 meters into the sky, visible from every direction for miles. At its peak, no city on earth rivaled Babylon. No empire could threaten it. No army dared approach its walls. In 539 BC, it fell in a single night. This is the story of the city history tried to forget. To understand what Babylon was, you must first understand what the ancient world looked like before it. 4,000 years ago, the region known as Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, was a patchwork of warring city-states. Empires rose and collapsed within generations. Power was temporary, survival was not guaranteed. Into this chaos, around 1894 BC, a small Amorite kingdom established itself along the Euphrates River. Its capital was called Bab-Ilim, the Gate of the Gods. The world would come to know it simply as Babylon. For centuries, it remained one city among many, powerful but not dominant, ambitious but not yet unstoppable. That changed with one man. In 1792 BC, a king named Hammurabi ascended the throne of Babylon. Within 30 years, he had conquered every rival city-state in Mesopotamia, not through brutality alone, but through something far more dangerous: governance. Hammurabi understood that empires built on fear collapse the moment the fear fades. Empires built on law endure. He commissioned the world's first comprehensive legal code, 282 laws carved into an 8-foot basalt stele, displayed publicly so every citizen could read them: property rights, trade regulations, protections for the vulnerable, punishments for the corrupt. Officially, it was a legal document. In reality, it was the blueprint for civilization itself. Babylon rose and fell across centuries, but its greatest era came under a single king, Nebuchadnezzar II, who ruled from 605 to 562 BC. Under Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon became something the ancient world had never seen before. Not just a city, a statement. He rebuilt the city from the ground up. The Ishtar Gate, the northern entrance to Babylon, was reconstructed in glazed brick the color of deep ocean water, decorated with alternating rows of lions, bulls, and dragons. It was not merely architecture, it was intimidation. The processional way leading to the gate stretched half a mile, lined on both sides with 120 lion sculptures. Every king, diplomat, and prisoner who entered Babylon walked that road. They were meant to feel small. And then there was the structure that made Babylon legendary across the ancient world: the Tower of Babel. The Babylonians called it Etemenanki, the house of the foundation of heaven and earth. A stepped pyramid temple rising 90 meters into the sky, dedicated to the god Marduk. The biblical account of the Tower of Babel was almost certainly drawn from this structure. Workers from across the empire labored on its construction. Its shadow fell across the city for miles, and somewhere within Babylon's walls, possibly within the palace complex itself, stood what the ancient Greeks called one of the 7 wonders of the world: the Hanging Gardens, terraced gardens rising stories above the ground, fed by an elaborate irrigation system that drew water from the Euphrates. Trees, flowering plants, and cascading water in the middle of a desert city. Whether they were built by Nebuchadnezzar for a homesick queen or by a king in a completely different city remains disputed. What is not disputed is that ancient writers who claim to have seen them described something so impossible it passed into legend. But Babylon's legacy was not built from stone alone. The scholars and astronomers of ancient Babylon produced intellectual achievements that quietly underpin modern civilization, contributions so embedded in daily life that most people never question where they came from. The Babylonians divided the sky into 12 equal segments, assigning constellations to each. The zodiac was not invented by medieval astrologers or ancient Greeks. It was a Babylonian system developed over centuries of careful observation. They tracked the movements of planets with mathematical precision, predicting eclipses centuries before Greek astronomers were credited with doing so. They divided the circle into 360 degrees. They divided the hour into 60 minutes and the minute into 60 seconds. Every time a person checks the time, they are using a system of measurement invented in ancient Babylon. Their mathematics included advanced algebra and geometric calculations. Their medical texts described diagnoses, treatments, and surgical procedures. The 7-day week, adopted by Rome, inherited by Christianity, embedded into every modern calendar, traces its origins to Babylon. This was not a primitive civilization. This was the intellectual engine of the ancient world. In 539 BC, the Persian king Cyrus the Great stood at the head of the largest army the ancient world had assembled. His objective was Babylon. Every general who had considered attacking Babylon before him had faced the same problem: the walls. 14 miles of walls surrounding the inner city. Some accounts describe them as wide enough for 2 chariots to race side by side along the top. They were not walls designed to slow an attacker. They were walls designed to make attack unthinkable. Cyrus did not attack the walls. The Euphrates River ran directly through the city of Babylon, entering and exiting beneath its walls through carefully constructed channels. Cyrus ordered his engineers to divert the river upstream, reducing the water level in the channels until they were shallow enough for soldiers to wade through. On the night of a Babylonian festival, while the city celebrated inside, the Persian army marched beneath the walls of Babylon through the riverbed. The city fell without a siege, without a battle at the gates. Babylon, the city whose walls were supposed to make it unconquerable, was taken from underneath. The Babylonian king Belshazzar was killed that night. Cyrus entered the city the following morning and declared himself its liberator. What followed was not immediate destruction. It was something slower, more permanent. Under Persian rule, then Greek rule following Alexander the Great's conquest in 331 BC, Babylon slowly lost its identity. Its population scattered. Its temples were repurposed or abandoned. Its administrative language was replaced. Alexander the Great reportedly intended to make Babylon the capital of his empire. He died in the city in 323 BC before he could. The city that had dominated the ancient world for over a millennium began to empty. Brick by brick, its structures were dismantled and repurposed by neighboring settlements. The Euphrates shifted course over centuries, severing the city from its water supply. By the 1st century AD, the Greek geographer Strabo described Babylon as largely deserted. The greatest city on Earth had become a ruined field. When European archaeologists began excavating the site in the 19th century, they found the Ishtar Gate buried under 50 feet of rubble and sediment. The German Archaeological Institute shipped its remains to Berlin, where a reconstruction now stands in the Pergamon Museum. The city itself remains in present-day Iraq, partially excavated, partially damaged by military construction during the Gulf War, listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2019. What was once the center of civilization is now a tourist site in a conflict zone. History did not erase Babylon through conquest. Conquest came and went. Babylon survived conquerors for 1,000 years. What erased Babylon was indifference, the slow, methodical stripping of a civilization's identity until nothing remained but bricks and legend. The laws it wrote still govern modern societies. The calendar it designed still marks our days. The mathematical systems it built still underpin our world. Babylon did not disappear. It simply became too inconvenient to credit.